Alright, so part 2 of me uploading my Sonic skills back onto my channel, we're going to be talking about Sonic strength, AP, and dimensionality. Now, specifically scaling Game Sonic in the Gameverse, not Archie Sonic, so just keep that in mind. Before we even dive into Sonic scaling, we would first have to talk about the Sonic cosmology, or the game cosmology. The power of the stars is a force of immense power that appears in Sonic Rush Adventure. It is the force that ensues the existence of parallel universes. What makes parallel universes and dimensions possible in the Sonic universe is the power of the stars. These dimensions and universes encompassing that would be Blaze's dimension, the world of the Arabian Nights, King Arthur's palace, Sonic Boom, Null Space, White Space, and Cyberspace, and even the imaginary world. Via Tails' deduction, we can assume that there are probably an infinite number of parallel universes inside of the Sonic universe. IDW issue 38, Sonic's team is trapped inside of Eggman's Tower. Eggman's Tower is a world that folds onto itself and expands to an infinitum. It also warps the spatial laws and the laws of physics. On top of all of this, it literally contains an entire Tesseract, making the Sonic universe at a bare minimum a 4D construct. A hyper timeline, going on VSPW's definition, is an overarching timeline that encompasses multiple regular timelines. Time dimensions represents a higher dimensional time structure where the flow of time can differ between conventional timelines accommodating multiple time axes and unique temporal directions. There are a multitude of examples of this in the Sonic universe. White space is a dimension where time does not exist, indicating a distinct time dimension outside of the regular one. The end of time boss fight with the time meter is described to be an infinite and operates as a stream where time flows infinitely, meaning that there be infinite timelines in the Sonic universe. The ability of the time meter to manipulate Sonic's entire multiverse, restoring previous versions of timelines, suggests that there's a new direction of time separate from the regular one of the past and future. Solaris is born, the fractured reality affecting both Sonic and Silver's universes respectively, indicating a disruption between the regular flow of time. The correction of the shattered timelines after Solaris' erasure implies the restoration of the original timeline, highlighting the existence of multiple time dimensions. Adding that, the Night Palace with its own time dimension via the astral plane, it being tied to the existence of Sonic's world, we can confirm the higher existence of time dimensions encompassing all other time dimensions, providing a higher level of qualitative superiority, and therefore we can assume Sonic's universe at a low ball would just be 6D from the fact that there's going to be 4 spatial dimensions from the Tesseract plus 2 time dimensions. White space being stated to be an infinite realm between dimensions that can hold universes such as Crisis City from Sonic 06. White space should probably be the highest structure in the cosmology. Because it was unaffected by the time meter's literal erasure of the entire multiverse, it should be aspatial and atemporal, but at the same time it also contains pieces of the cosmology within it, which means it should have a higher superior nature to the rest of the cosmology, existing outside of space and time. Therefore, white space should be at least one dimensional coordinate above everything mentioned earlier, getting the Sonic cosmology to at least 7D. Sorry for the yap session, I know it was long, but let's get into Sonic's actual scaling now. In Sonic Rush, we're introduced to the Egg Salamander, and the Egg Salamander was directly stated with the power of the Chaos Emeralds and Soul Emeralds was going to transcend dimensions, and we can visually see that due to the fact of the collapsing dimensional rift. Taking into account the transcending dimension statement, we can imply that Eggman would be one dimensional coordinate above the entire Sonic cosmology, which would scale the Egg Salamander to 8D. Super Sonic and Burning Blaze beating him would also scale them both to 8D. In the very next game, mind you, we're introduced to Solaris. And Solaris on numerous occasions has been stated to be a super dimensional / extra dimensional life form that exists in the past, present, and future in each dimensions for lunch. With this taken into account, we can assume that Solaris would transcend the entirety of the Sonic cosmology and any other boss or villain that previously was listed, putting Solaris in the range of 9D or just high complex. 3 hedgehogs via Sonic, Shadow, and Silver being able to beat Solaris would scale them to them, but they do not scale to Solaris in Phase 2, just Phase 1. Later on in Sonic Forces, we're introduced to Infinite, and Infinite is directly stated to be the strongest villain thus far. Now, people take this with a grain of salt via the fact that they don't think he's stronger than Solaris. But we know the Time Meter fights a way stronger version of Sonic than the one in 06, along with his past counterpart, meaning that the Time Meter would just scale above Solaris entirely, putting Sonic in the range of 9D or high complex in base due to the fact that he's able to beat Infinite multiple times and even cliffs him at the end of the game. So Sonic's statement about him getting stronger every second can be taken literal via the fact we see him cliff past villains in base when he previously needed his super form. Taking this into account, Sonic's super form should be a dimensional transcendence above his base via the fact that Sonic in base was able to cliff his previous villains in terms of power, meaning that his super form should be an extra dimensional coordinate above that, putting him in the range of hyperversal to high complex in base in his super form. My Discord's in bio if you guys want to give me more Sonic knowledge or just drop in the Discord to say hello, but other than that, peace.